Right now, I want to welcome to the program the Legislative Affairs Director for the Virginia Shooting Sports Association, Mr. David Adams. How you doing, sir?
Hey, Cam.
Good talking with you today. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, my pleasure. Governor Terry McAuliffe, we've talked about this several times over the past month or so. He has certainly been vocal about his desire for new gun control laws in the Commonwealth of Virginia, even as our violent crime rate declines. Gun sales are up. Gun-related homicides are down. Gun-related violence is down. But the governor, look, he got the endorsement of Mayor Bloomberg, and that means something, I suppose, Dave.
Yeah, I think that was pretty much confirmed by the Times-Dispatch article today. He said, hey, look, I ran on these things, and guess what? I won. So he's looking at a way to let his base know that he's going to push these issues, even though the legislature is controlled by the other party. But I do find it a bit of a stretch for him to lump these all together in, quote, economic growth proposals. Because, like you said, I think if you ask the average person living in Virginia whether they feel safe or not, the answer is going to be yes.
I think you're right. And, it's interesting. Echoes of President Obama with his statement of, guess what, I won. We saw how well that's actually worked for President Obama in Washington, D.C. in helping to attract the number of lawmakers that he needs to get his agenda through. Now, President Obama at the federal level has decided to go around Congress as much as possible. Given the political realities in the state of Virginia for Governor McAuliffe, I suppose he, too, would like to avoid the legislature as much as possible. But, Dave, I don't think he's going to be able to craft any new gun control laws simply by snapping his fingers.
I think he learned that with the expansion of Medicaid last year, that he didn't have the power to do that, and I think he knows that he can't do that when it comes to our gun laws in Virginia, too.
So do you think that the House of Delegates is going to be that bulwark then for gun control laws in the Commonwealth this session?
I think so, but I think it's also a positive sign that the Senate Majority Leader, Tommy Norment, who has been known to be with us and not with us from time to time, said, look, we're not going to refight the battle of one gun a month. And if he's making statements like that about a bill that he voted against repealing, I think it looks pretty good for us in the Senate that none of those bills are going to see the light of day out of committee.
That's really interesting. And again, sometimes the headlines come from the leaders, the leaders of states or leaders of governments. But to find out what's really going on, you talk to these committee heads. And if he's saying, as you say, that you don't need to refight this, because this is one of the things that Governor McAuliffe wants. He wants to reinstate the one-gun-a-month law that Virginia had until, what was it, Dave, 2007? Is that when it went away?
It was 2012 when it
2012 went away. Oh, see, I was thinking it went away earlier than that. But again, the one-gun-a-month law in Virginia, if you were a concealed carry holder, you were exempt, correct?
Correct. And in fact, the bill that has been put in to reinstate the ban of buying more than one gun a month has the same exemption. And plus, it has an additional exemption that was not in the previous law. It would exempt private sales as well. So I have to ask myself, why are you pushing to reinstate the law when you're giving so many exemptions?
Okay, here's my theory. It's just a working theory, Dave. And my theory is gun control advocates are desperate for anything that they can spin as a win. So if it's a matter of incrementalism, and we know that gun control advocates are happy with incremental advances, as quite frankly are pro-gun advocates. We're happy with what we can get, and then you go and you try to get more of what you want. It seems like Governor McAuliffe would be happy with even a nibble of gun control that he could then point to and say, aha, look, I made a difference here.
Well, I think he's going to be starving if he's looking for a nibble, because I don't think he's going to get anything out of the General Assembly this year.
All right. What about the possibility of putting pro-gun legislation on Governor McAuliffe's desk?
Well, we are looking. There's already been two bills, one in the House, one in the Senate, that would create lifetime concealed carry permits. A couple years ago, we tried that, and it got out of both houses. But when it got onto the floor, there were still some concerns about the way it was drafted, so it ended up being sent back to committee. We're going to try that again this year. we'll see what happens. I haven't seen any. There's not been many bills pre-filed before the opening tomorrow. But I think our best bet would probably be lifetime concealed carry permits. This is an election year, so we'll have to see what comes out. And they have a week after the session starts tomorrow to introduce additional legislation.
All right, and as you say, Dave, this is an election year in Virginia as well as New Jersey, and I think that's going to make a difference as well. I'm curious, in Richmond, have you heard any Democrats actually complain about Governor McAuliffe trying to push gun control in Virginia during an election year?
No, actually, I have not heard any rumblings about that, because in Virginia, your Democrats are kind of concentrated up in northern Virginia and in your other urban areas, and they tend to be more friendly to gun control. You don't have a lot of rural Democrats, and the ones that are in the legislature are pro-gun. So I don't think he's getting much pushback from his own party. A lot different than what you see at the national level up until the last couple of years.
Interesting, and maybe and maybe much more like what we've seen at the national level during the last couple of years. All right, listen, Dave, we've got to run, but thank you so much for coming on the program, sir. I know we'll be talking again throughout the legislative session, and do appreciate your time today.
All right, Cam. Thanks for having me on.
My pleasure. Dave Adams, Legislative Affairs Director with the Virginia Shooting Sports Association.